What's going on with Lady D today? I'm your host, Lady D. Well, welcome to What's Going On with Lady D today. And today we are celebrating Women's History Month. And we have a special guest in the house, no other than Miss Marilyn Burns. Welcome to our show.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here.
I am so honored to have you because I'm telling you, you are a tremendous woman. You are really making a difference in our community.
Thank you.
And so I would like you to tell our listeners a little bit about you. Where are you from?
Well, I was born and raised here actually in Cleveland. I grew up here all my life. You know, we moved from place to place, but basically Cleveland is my home.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. And so now I know that you are a community leader
An activist.
and an activist.
Yes.
And you do a very excellent job as being an activist. Why is being an activist so important to you?
Well, I grew up with this and I watched my mother help people, and I've watched people often have a bad shake in life. Things
Okay.
didn't work out well, and there was no one there to speak up for them, no one there to advocate for them, and they just fell through the cracks of society, so to speak. So I thought that was so unfair. I've always been for the underdog, so I think that's very important for people to have a voice that can't speak for themselves.
Truly amazing. Yes, because we need that.
Yes,
And
definitely.
especially when you talk about the children,
Yes.
they can't talk for themselves.
Yes.
Our elderly people, they're tired.
Yes, yes.
And some things are just because times change.
Yes. Oh, definitely so. Definitely
So
so.
they need someone to be right there in the middle to keep things afloat.
Ex-
So let me ask you, what age did you realize that this was something that you wanted to do?
It snuck up on me, Lady D.
It's not gonna
Listen, actually, it did. I was telling people, they asked me how I got into this, and my mother was always one to volunteer for everything. Door knocking, walking the neighborhood, whether it was for the March of Dimes, muscular dystrophy, whatever it was to better the community. So she always drugged me along with her, whether I wanted to go or not. So it came a point in time that she just got tired.
Okay.
And I guess when she educated me and thought I was ready, she sent me out there on my own. She was also very active in the church. She was an usher. So everything that happened in church, back then church was all day, all week. They used to
Right.
say,
Yes,
you stayed
yes.
in there, and so I got into public speaking, being in the children's choir, youth choir, then adult choir, and doing this and that. And she always instilled in me that my Creator was the most important thing, and I was a piece of His work, and I should do and serve the Lord. So,
And that's what we all should do.
yeah, amen.
Because we are servants of God,
Amen.
whether you want to or not.
Amen. Yes, indeed.
And
Yes,
sometimes
indeed.
He'll bring things in your life to get your attention.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely.
So you will eventually wind up serving.
Yes, and I always like that. Like I said, I've seen people, and even through my own story, and I have a heck of a testimony. I'm in the process, and it's a very difficult process of trying to write my story, my book.
Yes.
It's heartbreaking, and every time I start recording and talking about it, so it could be edited, I just break down in tears because it's very difficult. And so in the community that I live in, I see people who haven't had a great break. When we talk about subsidized housing, we talk about people whose educational background and things that have happened in their life, and their stories are hurtful. And so when I think about my life story and what I've been through, Lady D, I don't want anybody to suffer and hurt like that. And so this is why I put myself out there to encourage, empower, and just show people love, because there's so many people that I have met that haven't been told that somebody loves them. And I just think that's just a shame.
And we all desire love.
Yes.
You know, love comes in many forms.
Yes.
You know, even just saying I love you or a big hug. And you really have taken a big hug on your community.
Yes.
I want to talk to you about, I know you serve on a lot of different boards and committees,
Yes.
but the Woodland Housing,
Oh, yes.
which is new here in our Buckeye area. Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about that. I first of all, let me tell you a little quick story how I wound up in public housing.
Okay.
I was a victim of a scam. And I lost everything. I lost my home. I lost all the money I had. I even lost a relationship with my oldest son, who is no longer here on this earth. And he was just appalled and I wound up being homeless.
Okay.
So, and it was a heck of a journey that almost broke me. So I heard somebody tell me, listen, you can't be on the street, you can't do this and this. Let me tell you where to go to help you get some housing.
Okay.
So I went to the Carl Stokes building. I told them what my situation was, and they found me some housing. I had no clue of what public housing or subsidized housing looked like. I passed through these neighborhoods, but never
Right.
was a part of it. So when I moved in and I looked around and I saw the demise that some of the people were going through, I met a maintenance man. I'm like, give me the lowdown on these people here.
Okay.
And he started telling me, and I immediately threw myself into the work. A lot of opposition. Oh my God. People were like, who does she think she is, coming in here and trying to change the world?
Okay.
Not trying to change the world. I'm trying to let you see that it can be better than where you are.
Right.
And you don't have to accept things that way people say it should be. Because there are so many stigmas that's around public housing or low-income housing, and I hate that terminology because it gives people something in their mind that they think that they're not as good as, right?
Right.
So I want to encourage people that no matter what station, no matter where you are in life, you are God's child, okay?
Right.
And everything that he makes is special, and you are special.
Yes.
And don't ever let anybody tell you anything different than that.
So now the housing, the Wood Hill
Homes.
Homes. What's going on with that, and how are they working that?
Well, we were up for redevelopment through HUD, and we went before HUD. I went before HUD. We did our presentation with a group of other people from CMHA, Cuyahoga County Metropolitan Housing.
Okay.
And we talked and we made our pitch. Well, I got to tell you, the first time they said no. But everybody started telling us that don't be discouraged by that, because usually people that make their first pitch for that big money get refused. Okay. So we presented again, and a great thing about that was they kind of gave us a little cheat sheet of where we were lacking at and what they were looking for that we could improve on.
Yes.
So when we went back the second time, we got the grant money of $35 million.
Ooh, yes, yes.
Okay, that was a
Yes.
wonderful thing. So the first part of that, we started at Wood Hill West. Wood Hill West is located on the lower part of Buckeye, East 93rd and Buckeye.
Okay.
As you pass that rapid station,
Yes.
it's completed.
Okay.
So residents are moving in that building as we speak. It's a 120 unit building.
Okay.
90 of those 120 is allocated to Wood Hill residents, the right to return. This is a must. So they're given first delegate, and we're looking at the diversity. So once that's finished, now we're working on Wood Hill East, which is on Woodland. It's around 113th, 114th, and you can see it as you go by.
Right.
That construction isn't complete yet. We're looking for residents maybe to start moving in there maybe the end of spring, the beginning of summer. Now the hub, the central, Wood Hill Central, is the main part, which if you drive through that neighborhood now, you'll see a lot of those apartment buildings boarded up. You'll see it fenced off, ready for demolition.
Okay.
That's Wood Hill Central. That's going to be the hub. So Wood Hill Central is going to be a combination of new streets, townhouses, as well as apartment buildings, a whole plethora of things that's going to bring back the community and bring people together. You know, we're looking at new businesses. It's just working in partnership with all the other, like Buckeye has got a revitalization thing going on. Wood Hill has something going on. Fairfax has something going on. Shaker, so we're all coming together and putting on a new face, a makeover, if you will,
I
for the
love
whole
it.
for the whole community.
That is really awesome. Now let's talk about some of these mini committees that you serve on, because you are actually out here getting the information and
Yes.
then bringing it back to the community.
Yes. I think that I always tell people, I'm going to find me a seat at the table, even if I have to bring a folding chair. If I look in the room and there's not enough tables there, I can bring a table too. I
Okay.
do believe that whatever's going on in the residents need to have a seat at that table, the seat there for the decision making, because a lot of times we look up and organizations come into our communities and they have this grandiose plan for our community to give us what they think that it should look like for us. But
Right.
are we at the table at the very beginning when these plans are being made? Who can tell me what I want better than I can?
Right.
You
Right.
know, so this is why I think it's vitally important for a resident to be at the table. I often tell people I'm just like a tree by the river. I shall not be moved. And my opinion and their opinion matters. And so if you're not from that community, how can you tell a community what's best for them? And
Exactly.
I'm going to make sure, especially with this project with Woodhill, I've been there 21 years. I've been fighting since day one for the residents there.
Okay.
So I know what they're feeling. I take this to bed with me. I get up and, every day I see what's going on. So when organizations come into the community and try to tell us what no, it doesn't go like that.
Right.
We don't live this. We are not, people look at data through books.
Yes.
And
Numbers.
numbers and graphs and well, the data says this and that and other, but we're not talking about numbers. We're talking about human beings. And I think that's very important in order to, to make up what the community needs, what
Yeah.
we're looking for,
Make the proper
Yes.
informal decision.
Yes,
And
yes.
giving the people what they need.
Yes, not what
Yes.
you think that's best for us. It's not going to work, especially when we talk about sustainability. They come in, they want to survey us to death, which I think, don't bring another survey, please. So, that's just, and then the things that they set up, they don't last. They're not, you talk about sustainability, and usually it's gone away in less than 5 years. Right?
Right.
So where's the sustainability?
Right.
People listen, we all know it's money in black poor people. And that's where these organizations get money for. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's so unfortunate. Yes, let's throw millions of dollars into this project. And we wind up being checkoffs. And we're tired of being checkoffs.
Well, there's always a lot of money sitting that we never get to touch.
Yes,
Because we don't know about it.
Right. And it
And
never
so-
trickles down to us.
Right. And then if it's not used, then we lose it.
Exactly.
And that comes from not being aware. And that's why
Exactly.
our people need someone like you to keep
And I'm
them
going to still
informed.
fight that fight because God has a whole lot of work for me to do.
Now you also do something with our young ladies and the children's.
Yes.
Let's talk about our babies.
Yes, let's talk about our babies. I was a single mother of 3. And for those who have been single moms, it's hard. I was trying to raise 3 small children, trying to go to nursing school, and trying to work.
Okay.
So it was very hard. It was very hard. So the community that I live in, I see a lot of single mothers, and they're suffering because they're looking for love, first of all, in all the wrong places. Anybody that lays down with you, they'll tell you anytime, oh, I love you, because they're in it to get what they want at that particular time. But boom, 9 months later, here you are with a baby, and they're gone somewhere else, right?
Right.
So and these babies are struggling for love to find their place because they can't understand why mom is mad at me, why mom is talking to me in this certain way. So I want to encourage these young women, wait a minute, take a breath. Let's find out what's really going on with you.
Right.
Let's find your self-worth, because you are worth something. You are special. And let's get rid of all these stigmas that people have stuck on you. Let's get rid of all these things that have put you in the position that you feel this way about yourself. Let's get rid of all of this.
Right.
Because anything that God makes is great stuff.
Let's talk about those stigmas and titles.
Yes.
I think titles are just so far fetched. And when you come into the community and you bring in different programs and things, um, everybody don't understand what those titles mean and how to fulfill that need. So therefore, sometimes someone can get taken advantage of
Yes.
for the lack of not knowing.
Yes, yes.
You want to talk about
And
that?
so, yes, we've been stigmatized, demoralized, all these eyes all our life. Oh my God, it's just so many. And some of them over the years have stuck and have bogged us down, and we get so buried in it that we don't see the light that was born in us from the very beginning, because it's buried by the labels that people stick on us. You're not going to be anything. And I was told that. I was told that growing up. And it took a long time for me to realize that, wait a minute, I'm somebody. So I want to pass this on to the single mothers, the kids that are being bullied, because bullying now is more prevalent now than it was when we were coming along.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
and kids are suffering from so many things in school, the bullying. Teachers don't have enough time to spend with these kids because they're so busy disciplining. Right?
Right.
So there's no time at the end of the day to get the education that they need. So I'm here to share with them. I'm here to give you, what is it that you want for yourself?
Right.
Tell me where you see yourself. Because a lot of these single mothers and single parents can't see themselves to the next day. And you're asking me, where do I see myself in 5 years? Come on now.
Well, also bringing programs in and giving them the exposure and taking them from out of that community and letting them see something different.
Right.
And the sooner that you can start sharing those experiences, then, there's hope.
Right.
You know?
But you have to come in. The thing about that, Lady D, is when they bring these programs in, and I guess they say, oh, the best way we can capture information is through surveys.
That's not
Well,
the answer.
that's not easy. And then the right people are, okay, you're asking for community members' engagement.
Okay.
That's a checkoff thing, that when you write that grant, they want to know how many people you are engaging. So say you see 10 people, oh, yes, you've done a wonderful job. But what are you engaging them with? Are we just a checkoff thing so you can get that grant money? Are you vested in what you say you're going to do? Because a lot that I have seen in my 40-some plus years working in the community, we are checkoffs. We are the people that you get to get your grant money. And then at the end of the day, all this grant money does not hit the community that is there to serve. And I got to tell you, for me, I'm
Yes.
tired of seeing that. Have you asked, what about the single mother who has 3 babies, one sitting on her knee that's in diapers, that needs some diapers, a teenage kid, where is he at? He's out there, he's trying to sell some drugs or locked up in the juvenile system. Then you have a middle child here who's having problems in school, and what are you going to do? You need a break. What is it you want? For many times I have said, I've helped some mothers that wanted to further their education. And they had a baby by this guy who's living with them who won't even watch his own child. So I'll take that baby and say, baby, go ahead on to school. I got your back. You do what you want to do. Or I'll take the baby. I see the frustration when I talk to them. I'll take that baby who has a diaper that needs to be changed. And I'll hold them, say, you need a break? You want to go get your hair done, your nails done? You just want to get out of the house for a while?
Right,
Go.
right.
Get that exhale moment in.
Right.
And then come back and you'll feel better. But a lot of them don't have that break. And I'm here to give them that break.
That is just truly amazing. You also hold social events.
Yes.
And let's talk about the events that you've given so far.
Oh, God, it's so...
I know,
Where
just
do
some.
I begin? It's so many, because a lot of things... these communities don't see. Like, I try to bring something different every time I give an event. I think the last biggest one I really gave, it was called Woodhill Extravaganza. And child, that was extravaganza in its
Yes.
best. I bought people on stilts. I sent you groups of pictures.
Yes.
I had jugglers. I had magicians. I had the Bronco Bull, 2 types of bouncy houses, all kinds of things. Where in some neighborhoods that some black owners of businesses were like Rink in a Box. They were trying to get in the footprint of Woodhill forever. And I hired them. And the guy, Kenneth, I love him, was telling me that it took him forever just to get in there. So when I hired him to bring the skating, roller skates.
That was so nice.
And did you see the bumper cars?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
And what's the name of that business again that did that?
Rink in a Box, roller rink. Yes.
That
yes.
was
Kenneth
really
Perdue.
nice.
Yes.
I have never seen that done
Yes.
anywhere.
And I was so amazing because even when our our city council president now, Blaine Griffin, I'm giving you a shout out. I love you so much. When he first came to Woodhill and saw, he was like, oh my God, this is such a wonderful thing, right? And so, a lot of places in the suburbs, they see that type of thing. But in our neighborhood, the kids was like, oh my God, skates, oh my God, bumper cars, oh my God, this and that and the other. Bring something to them that they might not be able to go to.
Right.
A lot of parents, single parents, can't afford to take their kids to the skating rink.
Right.
Or even to a fair or somewhere that has the bumper cars, right? They just can't afford it because they're single parents, they have multiple children, and how can they afford it? I'm going to bring it to you and let it be at my expense.
That was so lovely. I was so impressed looking at those pictures. I was like, oh, she had all of this down
Yes.
there.
Oh, yes.
They were hula hooping. They were just doing everything there.
Yes.
That is really, truly amazing. So what can we look in the future from you? What's your next plan?
You know what? I don't know. Right now, I just let God lead my way.
Okay.
I do a lot of lecturing, So about 10, 15 years back, I was on the Cuyahoga County Board of Health. So I was working with a Dr. Heidi Gullett and Professor Greg Brown. And so she asked me, she was teaching at Case, medical students.
Okay.
And so I would go there about 3 or 4 times. She would call me and she said, come and talk to our medical students, first year medical students. And I would talk to them about importance, because a lot of them, when they come out of medical school, they want a private practice with people that's got money.
Okay.
But I was talking to them about the benefits and how important it is to go into communities, underserved communities. And it must have worked because they came up to me and they asked me, how can we help you? So they would volunteer at my events. A couple of times they met our city council president, Blaine, and he spoke to them. And I've spoken at City Club. And, at City Club, they usually invite high school students to see the process. Right. So now I'm starting to talk to high school students about respect, empathy, and acceptance. And I got to tell you, these kids are so hungry for that. Because when I speak from love. And I think they see that. When I first went to speak to them, there were so many tears and so many hugs. And so could you please come back? Could you just talk to me? Can I call you? And because they're looking for love.
Yeah.
They're looking for acceptance. They're looking for somebody. And kids are very resilient. They can tell if you come in with some BS or not, right? But they saw the sincerity.
Yes.
And I feed them that sincerity because it's so important. As you said earlier, times are different. And even though it might not be on purpose, but parents have busy lives. So when they come in, they're working, they're trying to provide for the family. So our gathering time when we were coming along was at mealtime. We all sat down at the kitchen table. We all talked about our day. But now everybody is so all over the place. And these young people do not have time to talk to their parents, or their parents really not, maybe on purpose sometimes.
Right.
What happened in school today, Johnny?
Right.
Or they feel like they're not important. So I give them their sense, you are important. You are so special.
Yes.
You are a light, and let your light shine.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is truly awesome. Now, if someone would like for you to come out and do a speaking engagement, need your services, because, this is just truly amazing. How can they reach you?
Well, they can either contact me by my email, which, can I say that?
Yes. That's why I'm asking you.
Okay.
Yes.
It's marilyn.burns85@yahoo.com. Just, you can email me anytime. I'm like an open book. And so if you email me, I will then, give you my phone number and whatnot. But I'm very easy. Tell me what you want me to talk about. We could sit down and have lunch. I love to have conversations over lunch and make these plans. And we'll work it out.
Awesome. Now, how can the people continue to drive this mission forward to our youth that is coming along today?
You know what? It's so hard. And I got to say this, I know people want to be a part of things, but this is hard work. This is not an easy mission. So if you email me, you tell me what it is how you want to be connected, and we could sit down and talk about it. Especially seniors that's retired and want something to do and give back to the community.
Right.
We could figure out you can read to the kids or help them with their reading, because as you see the stats from the schools, the kids' reading scores are low.
Yes, yes.
But how can you teach someone something, especially as a parent, and you can't read yourself?
Yes.
So a part of my nonprofit is, even if we're working on reading, we're all welcome, and nobody is stigmatized in my room. Nobody.
Right.
Because we all got to start with somewhere. And I often tell people, what if that shoe was on your foot?
Yes.
How uncomfortable would it be on your foot? So before we start, and it's a very thin line between judgment and your opinion. So we have to be very careful, because that could be you.
Yes.
You could be up today and you could be down today.
Yes.
So be very careful about how you treat a person. I'm thinking that I'm more of a humanitarian now than anything else, because the human condition is very important to me. We have been broken as a people for so very, very long. And now it's time for us to start feeding each other the fruits of the Spirit.
Yes.
And that first thing on that list is love.
Yes.
Let's start feeding each other love.
Yes. Yes. Let's start showing a little bit more caring.
Yes.
Check on your neighbor. Call a family member. I always put it out there. Today is give some love today,
Right.
Call somebody you haven't talked to. Check on them.
Yes.
Because this is important. You never know where people are, but you also have to meet people where they are.
Where they are. Sometimes, and this is another thing too, sometimes people from organizations or the academia arena, they come in our neighborhoods and they look like, you're beneath me, and, but I tell people all the time, Dag, I don't really have a formal degree, but I have many PhD life.
Right.
Life learned experiences.
Right.
Life learned stuff that you can't sit in a classroom somewhere and learn this. This has to be lived experience. So don't look down your nose somebody because you have a PhD or a master's degree or whatever, all those alphabets behind your name, We just have to get rid of that and come back to the basic things that it's intended for it to be like. People often forget about, because we get all these books in school, but the basic book that was given to us from the very beginning was His Word. We need to go back to that book.
Yes, yes, because we have to learn how, and it's a daily practice too.
Yes, it is.
Of not being judgmental.
Yes, yes.
Because you never know what someone else is going through. Do you think that man that's walking down the street with no shoes on chose to be homeless?
Yes. Yes.
So we as a people, we can make a difference day by day.
Yes.
Because the change is coming. And with someone like you in our neighborhood, change is definitely coming. Okay. Changes came.
Yes.
And more to come.
Yes.
So
yes.
I want to congratulate you.
Thank you so much.
On the time that you have put into your community.
Thank you.
Because I do believe this is a platform already, by example, of what's needed to be done in our communities.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
So now I just want you to give this lady, and when you see her, hey, give her a big shout out and tell someone, and try to follow in her footsteps or someone else that you admire and look up to, because this is truly amazing. And I thank you for spending time with us this afternoon. And that's what's going on. And can we have your address one more time?
Yes, my email address.
Your email address and your phone number.
It's all lowercase. Marilyn, MARILYN .Burns, BURNS 85 @yahoo.com.
Excellent.
Yes.
And get in touch with her if you have any concerns or you want to be a part, because, we can never get too many people who want to be involved.
Right.
Involvement is important. So I thank you again.
Thank you.
And I'll be back next Thursday on What's Going On with Lady D Today.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Join us every Thursday, and you too can be a guest straight from KAZ Radio Podcast Studio.